Okay, here we are back inside MatrixGold. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. If you're a subscriber and return viewer, thank you so much for the support. Greatly appreciated. I had an individual ask for a very, very basic introduction to MatrixGold. So if you're more advanced user, you probably just want to pass this video up. There might be some things in it, but I'm sure if you're used the program or Matrix 9 or any other prior program in Matrix, you probably already know all this stuff. So probably this video is not for you, but this is for the most basic learner, kind of an introduction into MatrixGold, what it is, what it does, how to use some of the tools, what to look for, what all these icons and everything kind of do. So it's a basic introduction, and I'm going to do a couple of these, but I'll be putting other videos up in between them as well. So I apologize if it takes a little time, but there is a lot in here and a lot to learn. And it's kind of almost impossible to learn everything in just a short period of time. So you'll need to kind of be watching the other videos as well. So let's go ahead and get started. First, what is MatrixGold? MatrixGold is a kind of like an add-on for Rhino. Rhino, which every Matrix program will have Rhino. It depends on what version of Matrix or MatrixGold that you have as to what Rhino version you'll have. So right now I have Rhino 7. I think they have Rhino 8 out right now. But MatrixGold is 3.1, which is the newest version right here, is using Rhino 7. This is basically the program you're using, and Rhino is used to design anything from a simple cup to chairs to furniture to car engines to cars to buildings to airplanes to spaceships. Anything you want, you can pretty much design in Rhino. Anything. There are some programs that are sub D that are a little bit maybe nicer to do manipulation for, like figures or stuff like that, organic stuff. But now that Rhino has a sub D and it also has ClayU, there's still, once you learn the programs and all of them, they're really easy. So the MatrixGold is several different programs. First, it's Rhino based, so that's probably the main one that you'll need to understand a little bit about. But it's not set up the same way. MatrixGold is more used for a jewelry designer friendly type stuff. It's probably the most cutting edge, in my opinion, software out there. There's other things that people will argue with me with, but I think MatrixGold is probably one of the best out there, or Matrix itself, any Matrix program. I just really love them. But it's a Rhino based, and then it's written over Rhino, so you have all the commands of Rhino, plus you have more specifically for jewelry design. Which is very, very helpful in really just designing pretty much anything. And then you have ClayU, which is a sub D program. So there's meshes. You can work with meshes as well and do organic items. And then it also has Rhino sub D, which there's another video I did a little bit about, but it has Rhino sub D software, so you can use it as well as ClayU for meshes. And then also, if you go down to your command line and type in Grasshopper, it has Grasshopper in it as well, and Grasshopper will load. And Grasshopper is a nodes-based program. There's a lot you can do in this, and later, once we get a lot of the MatrixGold stuff, we'll start dipping into and finish the Clay U and Sub D stuff. We'll get into Grasshopper. It's a lot more detailed. It's more node based than the others, but it's actually really what gives us our dynamic commands. That's why I think Grasshopper's in MatrixGold now. It offers a lot of other versatile tools. But let's go ahead and look at the basics here. Okay, so right here across the top you have all your menus of all the tools you can use, and each catalog or each item has tons of different tools up here that you can use. And then it also has sub programs, the one with the little triangles. It has sub program or sub things that you can choose as well. So you can see there's a ton of stuff in here. And then also surfaces, which really is Rhino and MatrixGold surface modeling, which is all very important. And then it also has solid items. So, you know, you could just draw a box, you know, and then shade it, of course. So there's solids, basically. Anything to do with solids, you'll be using this area. And then tools, all different kinds of tools. Gems, which is probably one of the most used for MatrixGold because it is jewelry-based. And Rhino doesn't have a lot of these commands in it. That's why MatrixGold, one of the main reasons why MatrixGold I think is very, very popular for the jewelry industry. All kind of tools you can use in here. And then it has different settings, heads and stuff. Another add-on that Rhino really doesn't have a lot of. You have to make everything from scratch, so it makes it a lot easier to use MatrixGold in jewelry and designing. And then it has cutters for surface, so you can cut things, surfaces very easily. Transform menus, you can do scaling object, all kinds of different kinds of transform menus. Clay U, which is the Sub D program, you can render different, naturally now, I guess. Change the view. Dealing with any kind of mesh like Sub D or Sub D, Rhino Sub D or Clay U meshes, and measurements. You can do your measurements because some things like architectural and mechanical engineering, they have to be very specific, so you need all your measurement tools. Then it analyzes whatever you've done in all different kinds of modes. There's miscellaneous here, which most of your miscellaneous will be found in your quick commands. And then manufacturing. So after you get something done, how are you going to be able to print it out or make it, right? So the first menu and most basic menu is curves, okay? And the most used curves will be your line, polyline, freeform, arc, and blend and stuff like that, and rectangle, some of your closed surface. And so let's take a look at first the line, just the line, not any of the subs. If you click on a line, you are able to just draw a line, basically. Let's turn it on here so you can see everything real good. From 2 points, right? Which really that's how you start to design something, just drawing out lines and then connecting them together. What you have to be sure of in order to get surfaces and models to come out correctly is that things are closed off. So you need modeling tools, and that's where all this down here comes in. But first let's go around and look. We looked at a little bit of these, so these are all your tools that you have available to be able to design things. You have quick commands here, so if you do something, you make something, you're able to go over here instead of going back up to like and then go to your transform, like this mirror right here. So you'd have to go to your transform, then you have to click the dynamic mirror or the non-dynamic mirror or parametric command, and instead you can just really quickly go over here. And you can also drag items and place them into your quick commands if you use them a lot. So you can manipulate things around. If you want to drag it off, and just you can just drag it off. You can also lock these so you can't drag them off, but that's a whole nother story. Let's just go real slow here. So these are your quick commands, all your curves, and all your tools. Here is where you save things. So if you make something, say you make something like this, and it's important as you're making it to save it to a job bag every once in a while, so that if something goes wrong, computer goes down, or you need to go back and manipulate something, you have an easy access to go back to it. And as you're doing it, you can also save full, which will save everything that you've done, all your dynamic commands, all your layers that you've hidden. It'll save everything involved, whereas the job bags will just save certain things, right? So it's important to use these properly. You also have your layers. So if I go back, we'll stick with curves for today, and I just draw a curve, right? So I have a yellow curve, but I can change it to any layer. So as you're designing things, you might want to change colors of items so that you can tell what they are, and then you can easily click find them quickly. So like if I had a ton of things out there and I wanted to find this color in my design somewhere, I could just go down here and click on it, the box here, right click, and it'll pop up everything that color is. So you're able to categorize things out so you can quickly pick things inside your design once it gets pretty detailed. And we also have the layers here. So if I have a layer, let's draw a surface real quick. We'll just draw a plane. Right now it's yellow, right? So I can see it's solid. I can also turn it to a wireframe so that if I'm working inside of it, I'm able to see other things inside it. I also can change it to all kinds of different modes. There's a ton here. I'm not going to go through them all, but just different kinds of views that will help you in your designing process. And then over on our right side, we have recent commands. So instead of going back, you're using something, you can just go over and click without having to go back to your curves menu, your line, and then drawing it back out. You can just quickly go over here and draw your item out, which makes it really useful and a lot quicker. You can also use keyboard commands, which we won't get into today. So that's your recent commands. Dynamic groups, you can group certain things together. Dynamic commands, so when you use the ones with the little lightning bolt, those are all dynamic commands. So anything that you use that has a little lightning bolt by it, you're able to manipulate it at a later point in time over in here. So let's see if I can find something. What we got? Probably have to draw something out to use it, which we'll do here in a second. But let's keep going forward. So these are your parametric commands that'll keep everything in dynamic. So you can go back and change them. They'll link everything together so that you're able to do certain things very, very quickly. Like change sizes of stuff or go back and manipulate something very easily. Going down, we have properties menu here. It tells you what it is, kind of like. So if I go here and I click on it, it varies. It's creation layer, it's a count of 4. Default material. But once we get into surfaces and stuff like that, it'll tell you more information. And you also have the ability to add other things in here, like gem weight, metals, weight, all kinds of different things you could add in here. But we won't go in that today. That's probably for another day. And then we have some commands down here at the bottom. We have our command line. You can move your command line up to the top. And all these boxes offer different record history. So as you're doing it and you need to go back and change something, it's recorded it so everything updates along with it, or certain things. Smart Track's a really good one. I'm going to make a video on that here soon. Gumball, we talked about that on another video, what all it does. Project, that's a really good, and planer are really good ones. We'll talk about those in a video here shortly. O-Snaps is probably one of the most important tools that you'll have to use, and Grid Snaps. Okay, so let's just go ahead and just draw something very easily here real quick. First, let's look at Grid Snaps, what that box does. With this box, with Grid Snaps on, you can choose 0.1 millimeter, which if you zoom in here, all these boxes here are 1 millimeter, okay? And then from here, this dark line here to here is 5 millimeters squared, and it just goes out from there. So it's 1 millimeter, 5 millimeters, 10 millimeters, and same direction. This is your center line, right? So if you type F4 on your keyboard, the line will start automatically from the center. So it goes to the center. And then you can either type in, or you can type in a distance, or you can just use your grid snaps to snap to a certain point. Okay. Let's see. Let's keep going. What was I going to do here? Okay, grid snaps real quick. Okay, so let's click back out of that. So right here, it snaps to every 1/10 of a millimeter, right? And if I click 0.25, now it's doing quarters. So if I start down here, go up, that's 1/4, that's a half, that's 3/4, that's 1, right? Or you can do halves. That's 1, 2, that's half. Right, and it also will do the middle, and you can also do 1. Okay, this is very important when you're trying to get something of a specific size. But I'm going to turn grid snaps off here for a second, and I'm going to go ahead and turn O snaps on, because now these tools here are very, very important when you're designing anything in 3D, because it has to be what they call watertight. Watertight means like its entire close, so it's like a bottle with the cap screwed on very tight, or just a solid box. Like if I go to tools and grab me a box, this would be considered a watertight item. Okay, use these for your surfaces usually. So it's a watertight item. And how do I know? Is I can go over here and it'll say closed poly surface. So it's closed. That means there's no holes in it. If you put it in water, if depending on how it is, it'll sink or float. But no water will go inside of it. Okay, and then you can change to your wireframe mode, where you can see into it if you need to do something on the inside or look through it. Okay, so that's that. So let's go back to curves real quick, and let's explain this watertight item and why these are so important. So if I draw a line, right, and I start just over to the side, draw up, first I'll turn everything off, right, and I'll turn my O snaps off. So everything's off. So I'm drawing something out here. Actually, let's go to poly line curve, so easier. So I'm drawing something out here, and I need it to be watertight, so I need it to be closed. So I can't, if I just try to, guess, I'm probably off. Okay, so if I go in here and try and make a surface, it'll say no faces were made, curve must be closed and planar. So planar means flat to any plane, which is, if I look down here, it's flat to this plane. How do I know? Because I can't see, it's only on one plane. This is one plane, this is another plane, okay? It has to be flat for that planar curve to work. So this is not good. It'll create problems down the line. So these tools, O-snaps, are very, very important. So now, let's abort that. Let's go back to polyline. I turned on O snaps, and I'm going to turn on N snaps. So N snaps, if I draw something out here, now when I go to a point, you can see it's clicking right to that point. See it snap to it. Boom. Right? Or, you know, any other point. Well, it doesn't have a point on it. So you can click on point snaps, and then now it'll click to that point, that point, that point. Near. So if I'm near to the line, it should snap to it. Maybe it's because of the same line, but let's go ahead and close it off. So now that's a closed surface. So if I go back and it's planar, I can just get me a surface there. So now it's a surface, and now it says type none. It's basically a planar surface. That's pretty much all it is, just a flat piece of whatever. All right, so that's another one. Curved surfaces or curves are very important. You got a line which will draw straight, polyline which will draw multiple, and a polyline is very important. It's not a mesh NURBS line. Freeform allows you to manipulate things with a more flowy surface, right? And then offset curve. If I do an offset curve, click on it, it'll offset the curve a certain direction that you can type in the bottom. You can do arc direction, make arcs, and there's all kinds of other subcommands in these lines, which are all very, very important. You could spend one video, you know, 20, 30 minute, 40-minute video just talking about the lines, because you have so many different lines. And then if you just click on the line, for example, okay, well now you come down to your command line and you can choose both sides. So if I click on it, if I click on an area, well, wait, if I click my line on, click the line on and go to both sides, when I click, I have a line on that extends both sides. If I bring back that command by right clicking, you can go to the normal of whatever surface or line. Angled, you can type in direction, a certain angle, vertical, straight up and down. So if I click it here and then, well, first if I go to the line, click vertical, click on a line, it'll only go straight up and down. There's just so many. 4 points, 1, 2, and then 1. Oh, I didn't click 4 points. So go to my line, hit 4 points. Say I want to go here, here, but I need it to come back and then out for a certain reason. It'll do all that. Perpendicular, there's just tons. Extension, if I have a curve out here and I need it extended, I can just right click on my line curve, hit extension, and then click on my line and then continue it out to where I need it, and it'll make it 2 items, right? So you got to be a little careful there. So that's a lot with just the line curve, and again, each individual one has different usages and things that you need to be looking for. So you don't always have to go down to your line command to pick it. You can pick both sides here, you know, or you could go over to your yeah, right, or right click on your line curve here instead of left. See, it says line both sides or line curve, so it has some that you can do very quickly depending on what you're looking for. This is a difficult video because there's just so much. So let's just make a basic ring just to show you. Very, very basic ring. How would you make the most simplest ring, right? Well, first of all, you have to go to your tools menu. Second, you would have to get a ring size, right? And now when you ring size, since ring is parametric or dynamic command, you can look at your dynamic commands over on your right side, and you can manipulate certain. If I want to change it to 9, if I want to change it to 11, you can change it from US to all these different measurements or countries, sizes. It'll tell you the length of the diameter, I believe, in inch or millimeters. Okay, and you can also change your grid in inch and millimeter. But anyway, we have a ring rail out there, so we're just going to hit enter, accept that. So it's a size 7. How do I know? Because I can go over here and just see, well, it's a size 11, sorry. Let's put it back to size 7, which is default. And it's 17.34 millimeter, okay? So 10, yeah, 13, 14, 15, something like that. All right. So 17.34 millimeter, size 7 US, all right? And then hit enter, of course. So there's our inside of our ring rail. Now, the very simple thing to do is go and grab what we call a profile. A profile is something that you add to the ring rail to give it some kind of a shape. So we have a simple ring rail, the default ring profile out here, right? And then you can go in and manipulate height, width, and width. You can also manipulate location. You can drag it down below the ring rail, or depending on what you need to do, you can also drag it off center to either side. So there's a lot you can do there. You can even rotate it if you wanted a certain direction. You can even rotate it from the top, or you can rotate it from left to right or back and forth, right? So since I messed with that so much, and I don't want to waste time, you can also change a profile or edit your profile, which edit or profile we'll talk about later. We're just going to try and do something very simple. So right now I'm just going to back out of that because I manipulated it too much. And then I'm just going to go to my recent commands, click on ring rail or profile, have a profile. So I'm not going to do a lot of manipulation. I'll just go to my profile and pull that up real quick. And it gives you a library of all different kinds of profiles. Some of these are brought in from past MatrixGold. Some of them I made myself, but you can choose any certain one that you want. So hit select and you can see it will update here in the profile box and on your ring there. And then you can manipulate this, right? And then usually you want more than one profile on your item unless you're just going to make something that's the same all the way around. So what you can do is that little dot there, you can place another profile anywhere with that dot. So like if you hold down shift, it'll lock it in the quads or the quarters. So there's a quad there. There's one here, there's one here, and of course the one up top. So if I hold down shift and I want to place one at the very bottom, and then I can manipulate this one here, make it a little thinner so it the ring kind of tapers down, right? And then just hit enter. So now I have this, all right? So after you get your profile, so this will be your item here. And actually what you can do is if you're in the profile, you can actually go down here and activate auto sweep and it'll automatically sweep it, right? Or you can do a sweep 1, which let's back out of this. You can go to your surfaces and do a sweep 1, which is pretty much the exact same thing. Select your ring rail, select one profile, select another profile, hit enter. And then over here you want it closed unless you don't. And there's a lot of reasons why you don't. And then hit enter. So you have a ring, right? Very, very simple band, right? And you need to make sure it's closed, right? Because we need watertight surfaces. Well, you pretty much, it says varies, but it's a closed poly surface. So now if I look at properties, closed poly surface. So this is basically something I could print. Go and add supports on it and put it on the printer and print it and cast it in metal and I have me a band. Boom, I'm done, right? But there's a lot more you can do, of course. So let's make, like I said, make something very simple. First I'm going to manipulate this a little bit because since it's parametric or dynamic, I can go back in and alter things very easily, and I have my record history on too. So I can pick that profile. I can go over here in dynamic commands, hit edit, and now I have my profile back up there selected. Profiles are back selected. I don't want to manipulate this one. I want to manipulate this one here. So I just click on the little ball there, and it'll give me my handles for that profile. Or if I need to manipulate this one, so I can change back and forth to whatever profile I want to manipulate. I can manipulate them with the handles, or I can manipulate them with the items over here in your or dynamic commands menu. I'm not going to play around with it too much. I just want to add a little bit of height to it, so I'm going to make it a little thicker. Okay, and delete the profile. If I didn't want that profile, I could delete it. I can mirror the profile so that it would put it exactly at the opposite side. Rotate the profile, activate auto sweep. So we're just going to take this. We did a sweep 1, all right, and then we edited our profile. And now we have it a little bit thicker, right? A little bit thicker. So what we want to do is we want to put some gems on here. Like I said, this is going to be very, very basic. So we want to go to our curves menu. We need some way to add those gems on there. So the easiest way is to go and extract an ISO curve. And right away you can see it pops a line out there. And right now it's set at if you look to the right here, it's 0.5 and it's 1. 0.5 is what you want. So I know it's in the center, but to me it looks like it's a little off. I'm going to snap it right in there. So now it's right on that line. You can't see it because that line's hidden it, but if I hit enter, boom, it shows up, and it's right on top of that line there, right? So I know there's a line going all the way around my surface, because it's one surface, right in the center of that item. Okay, so now what I can do is I can select on that item, or that line, yellow curve there. I can go to gems, which this is what makes MatrixGold so very easy for jewelers. And then I can select gems on a curve. Well, there's a curve and I want to put gems on it, right? So, and it is a dynamic or parametric. So I can always go back and manipulate whatever I do, unless I break history, which is another story. So I got my gems out there, and now I need to line my gems exactly where I want them. And you have handles up there, spacing, start size, and placement. Placement is whether I want them off the ring, the surface, or below the surface, so it'll place them, right? So I'm going to put that close to 0 right at the moment. I'll just go here and placement. I'll go in here and I'll type in 0 and hit enter. So it's back to 0. So we need to place these gems, right? So I'm going to go to wireframe so we can kind of see everything. Actually, let's put this one here and this one here, and wireframe so I can kind of see through. And I want to, well, I clicked off, so I need to click my stones, go back to edit, which dynamic commands are really cool. And then I need to go where it says start position and drag it around to where I want the start position. So I'll just put it right on that line or close to it. And then my end position, I want it the same on this side here, as close as I can, so that they're pretty much lined with each other, right? And now I can, once I get that position, I can go back in and I can manipulate my size. And you have to be careful. You don't want your stones to be overlapping your surface. You know, you need to be able to have some metal to be able to set the stones. So I'm just going to go something like that. So I have a good amount of, on this one here, you can see it a little bit better. Good amount of metal on this side and on this side to be able to set stones, right? So let's go ahead, and what I want to do is I don't want them right on top of my stone. I want the table of the stone to be just lower. So over here you can go to gem placement and go to table. So now it drops them down to where they are right, the surface is right on the table. You could also, if you wanted to, manipulate it a little bit deeper, or if you didn't want it quite so on the table, you can move it up, right? So I'm just going to keep it kind of close to the table there, right at the moment. And then I'm going to drag it out just a little. I want the tables close to, there we go, and hit enter. So now everything's accepted. In order to get a little cutout there, I'm just going to select a gem, and then I'm going to go to my cutter, because I want to cut the metal out around my stones, right? So I'll go to channel cutter, and it places the channel cutter out there. So let's take a look at it. And right now it has a round edge, and it goes in. It's hard to see, but it cuts very, very deeply into the item, right? So I don't want these rounded edges. I'm not a big fan of them, so I'm going to go over here to my dynamic commands, click on round, and go to flat. Okay, and then I'm going to, I need a little space here because I got to put a prong here and prong, and it just looks, unless I'm going to channel set them, which let's do that. Let's go ahead and just make it a channel set. So let's go back to all our views, double click on it. And we want the stones to be, the cut to be a little bit inside our gems, because we need to use this to be able to set the stones. So the metal will be right there on the stone, and you'll see just in a second. Maybe just it looks okay actually. Let's drag it out for placement. We don't want it that deep, of course. That's way too deep. So we'll go ahead and drag it up some. And of course I didn't bring that cap out. Let's drag that cap out so I have extra room in there. Something like that. And we'll drag that up to about here. So it's below the girdle of our stone, but we have a little bit of space there, right? So now we have that. We have our width and our height set. We should be pretty much good to go from here. So let's go ahead and click on, give it some surface there so we can kind of check it out a little bit, and then just hit enter. Now we need to cut that surface, right? So what we need to do is we go to our solids menu, and right here is a boolean. Boolean difference will cut away. Boolean union will take the two items and like here very quickly. I'll grab a box. I'll just draw a box here, and I'll grab a circle, and we'll draw a circle right here. And you can see, oh, my gumball's not on. I'm going to turn my gumball on for easy movement, and they're intersecting, right? Okay, so what Boolean intersection will do is, if I select Boolean intersection, it'll ask me to select my first surface, which will be this one. I hit enter. I select my second surface and hit enter, and it just leaves the piece where they were intersected at, right? Okay, so let's back out of that real quick. Let's back out. So that now they're back to two individual pieces. You can go backwards or forwards depending on what you're doing. And Boolean difference will actually take a chunk out of one. Okay, so my first surface will be this one. Hit enter. My second surface will be this one. Enter, and it takes a chunk out of my first surface, right? So let's back out of that. Let's do it again, but let's select the ball this time as my first surface, and then the square as my second surface, and now it takes a chunk out of the ball. So depending on what you want, you have to be a little careful of what you choose first and second. Okay, so let's back out of that. They're back to individual pieces, and Boolean union will do exactly that. It will join them together. So I take this surface, hit enter, take this surface, hit enter. Now they are one surface, and they give you a little duplicate, which you'll have to get rid of. But if you select on the green, which highlights both of them, it's a closed poly surface, so it's airtight. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to cut out away from the green, right? We want the green to cut be cut, and we want the orange to be the cutter, doing the cutting. So we're going to do Boolean difference. We're going to select our ring as the first surface. We're going to select our cutter as the second surface, and it makes a nice little cut in there for us. And you want to check it out a little bit and hit enter. And now we have a ring with diamonds, right? And if you go to your render viewport, you can kind of see you have a nice little channel band, which you could probably sell thousands of these to a lot of people. So you have something like this, but usually there's holes underneath each gemstone, right? Not always, but you know, you want light, and it's easier to clean, and a lot of different things. This is called a channel set. It's called a channel set because you have a channel, and the gemstones are actually nudged right into the ring itself, and the metal is hammered down onto the ring by the jeweler, and that's how it's held in place. So that's called a channel set. All right. So from here, what we need to do is we need to punch those holes in there. So again, that's a cutter thing, right? So we'll go back to cutters, and you have something called gem cutters, and they are also dynamic. So you can click on those while you select your gems, and they place cutters out there, right? Now you can go turn to your wire mode, and you can do manipulation. Now cutters, there's a lot of things in here. You can manipulate depth, so how deep you want it. You can manipulate how big the hole, round the hole is. You usually want it a little bit smaller than the girdle of the stone. You can also manipulate the girdle thickness. Make it 0 or thicker, depending on what you're working with. You can also do placement, whether you want it higher or lower than the girdle itself. You can also the table of the stone goes up or down, and you can also do the width of it or the outside cutter from the table, you know, offset. Now, I'm not a big fan of cutting my items. I don't like them to cut into my rails. I like the jeweler or myself to be able to cut the rails. So I always make them a little bit smaller than the rail, so they're not really touching my rail. Some people will go ahead and add those cuts in. It's just personal preference. Talk to your jeweler. Which is best. So right now we have them going through. We have them the depth set in, and we also have everything set up. Right. So let's go ahead and enter. So we have all right. Now we need to do a Boolean again. Right. Which one do we need to do? Right. Boolean difference. Which is our first surface? Our ring, because that's what's going to be cut. Hit enter, and then select our cutters, what we want to do the cutting, and hit enter, and boom, there's our cutters, and there's our holes. Check them out, make sure they're okay with you. You can even go over and hide your gemstones to check to see what it cut. It didn't cut my rails, which I didn't want it to, so I'm happy with it. I can hit select, and now it gives me a closed poly surface. At this point, it's ready to go. There's, you know, it's done, right? If I bring back my gemstones, I can go to render. This is what you're going to get, right? From this point, start to finish, we'll do this simple one here. I'll go ahead and select all my yellow. I'll change it to gray and then hide them because I don't really need them anymore. I'll keep my ring rail out there. From this point, what I want to do is I need to get it ready for casting, right? So I don't really need my gemstones anymore, so you can just turn them off. And actually, you should be saving the job bags as well as you're going along. Especially a good practice to get in is before you Boolean anything, save the job bag. It just makes it a lot easier, and that's nowadays with dynamic commands, it's not as necessary, but it's really not a bad practice to get in. So every time just before you Boolean something, save it to your job bag, and you can always go back and change things if you break history and you can't use your dynamic commands anymore. So from here, like I say, it's ready to go. So we need to get it ready for manufacturing. Okay. So what we need to do first is we need to add a sprue on it. Okay, so we'll select the sprue, select our ring, and we'll hit enter. And it automatically throws out a sprue out there. And they've changed this in MatrixGold to dynamic, so you're able to go and change things. Or you can come down here to command line and change things as well. I'm not a big fan of the oval one. I don't know why. My printer probably just is easier to print. So I want to change my base to a different type base. So where's that at? Load stop, save style, select ring, base on, automatic, top link, which they changed it, so I usually use the non-dynamic one. So with one of these you can change it with. So let's select automatic. Kind of just places that out there. Actually, I'm going to go back because I'm not real familiar with the non-parametric or the dynamic one. So let's go here, and then I'll click my ring and hit enter. Now I have my options I'm used to. So base style, ellipse, right? I want to change it to a rectangle. That's my printer just seems to do better. You can change the thickness. These you can't manipulate over here in the dynamic, but you can down here, so you can change the thickness if you want. Right now it's a 0.5. If I wanted to change it to a 0.7, I could just type it in and it automatically makes it thicker. I could also change the width, the height, and all that right in here by just clicking on it. The top length, it's a 5.7. Say I wanted an 8 for some reason. Now it opens it up to an 8. Let's see. Height, it's 5.71. Say I wanted an 8. So it makes it longer. There's all kind of things you can do here, and then hit enter. With this particular style, this would probably be more than enough to be able to print it. You're done at this point. You can save it. You can go to your and then save as, and then just click it onto a 3D model or STL file, and you can put it on your printer and print it. You can also join these together, or you can mesh them. It's really up to you. But you can join things together. So say I want to just make all this. Right now I have 3 pieces out here, right? Again, right now you should probably job bag it. So I would go into my tools and do Boolean union this time, because I want to join these surfaces together. So I take a Boolean union, select my first surface, select my second surface, hit enter, and then take that and just turn it to gray. Usually want to keep things that you're doing. That way, if you ever need to go back and need it for any reason, it's there. And then one more time, Boolean union. This is my first surface. This is my second surface. Enter, and then enter again. And then take that red one, hide it to gray, and there it is. So right now, I have a closed poly surface. I just select everything, go in here, save as, and then type in a 3DM model. You can keep it in, which will give you exactly what you have out here, or if you want to print it, you just go to depending on your printer, of course, go to your I use STL, give it a name, boom, save it to your desktop or whatever, switch it over to your printer, and you're good to go. That's this one here. So this is probably the most basic thing that you can make, I would think. Anybody else have any ideas what would be more basic than just a channel set band? And that's really it for the very, very basic to make something. So I don't know if this is what you're looking for, but there's just so much. You know, I could go in and talk about curves and how curves are drawn out and how to manipulate them and add them together. Go through each command. You know, but the more videos you watch, the more understanding you'll probably get with you know, just watching and doing along with the videos. So I hope that helps. If this is what you're wanting type thing, let me know. If you're wanting something a little different, maybe you're just wanting to talk about each tool. You know, that would take forever, but you know, this is just probably the most basic thing that you can design. There's all different colors. Let's go grab a new menu here real quick. Okay, again, very, very basic. So go to your tools, right? You need a ring rail, but this time let's take a bypass. Okay, so this is a bypass, all right? And I'm not going to do a lot of manipulation here. You can bend it out a little bit further. You can draw it back, open it up. You can, I mean, there's a lot you can do with the handles. Make it a little, you know, so you just kind of have to play around with the handles to get the thing shape that you're looking for. I'll go ahead and hit enter, and then the next thing you would have to do is put a profile on it, which is in your tools. So go to profile, and let's see, we'll take a crazy profile here. We'll do a little something different. Let's do something like this on the top. Hit select, so it changes our profile to something like this, and it's kind of angled out there, right? So maybe that's not the angle we want. We want to switch it so it's more lined up with our surface there. All right, and then what we want to do is we want to mirror that over to our other side, so we'll just go ahead and click on a mirror, so it actually snaps the exact same thing over to the other side. Okay, so now I have one on that side, one on that side. All right, and now I want to place one in the mid, so I'll hold down shift, go in here. Oh, it's moving it around for some reason, so I'll just place one right here, and I don't want it that shape. I want to change this one to a different shape. So while it's selected and all the handles are on it, I'll go back over here and we'll change it to something, I don't know, something crazy. Let's go to something, it's hard to say what kind of surface we're going to get. Let's go something like this here. Okay, and hit enter and close that out, and now we have one of those. And let's do a little manipulate. Let's make this a little thinner. We'll bring it thinner and we'll make it a little larger, and we'll go back, say we want to manipulate this one, so we'll click on that one and we'll just make that one a little bigger too, so it does it to both. Whatever I do to one will do to the mirror. So if I was to do anything to this one and I had it selected and I have it mirrored, whatever I do to this one here will be done to this one on the other side. See? Okay. All right. So let's do that, and let's just say we want another one down here at the bottom, and I'll click on that and we'll change that one to a different one. And we'll just change that one to a normal one. Okay, and hit enter and wait for it. Okay, and on this one we want, it'll keep the same size that we just manipulated, but we're going to change this. We'll make this wider and a little thinner or something. Okay, so here we go. We got this. Then we'll hit enter. Okay, now we want to do a sweep. We only have one rail out there, so they're all on one rail. So we need to go to our surfaces. We need to make a surface, and we're going to select our dynamic sweep one rail. Okay, and we'll select our rail right here. So select rail, and then we go to profiles, usually in order. It's a good habit to be in. So we'll go 1, comes around this way, 2, here to this one, 3, here to this one, and then up to this last one here, and then hit enter. Okay, and then there we have our surface, and these are for domes. You can drag them out, you can drag them in, or you can just get rid of them over here. Mirror cap, no. Now it's open. We'll just leave them on though. just for the sake of this video, and we'll hit enter and we'll take a look at our surface. So now we have a unusual surface here, but if that's what you're going with, that's cool. And from here, what you can do is go to all your perspectives, or views rather. I mean, there's tons of items you can just use, you can make just using sweep 1 and profiles. I mean, all kinds of different designs. So let's just grab a gem. We want a gem. And we'll just go with a single gem, right? So we'll click on that, and automatically places a 1 carat round out there as default. And we can drag that up. Well, if I can grab it, drag it up, and say we want it like right around in here. And we want to make it just a little bit smaller. So we want around a little bit less than a ½ carat, so it's a 4.5. If I hold down shift, I can make it to 5, which is a ½ carat, or I can come over my dynamic commands. I can change shapes, all different kinds of shapes, whatever shape I want. I can also change sizes. You can pick sizes that you want. So it's really totally up to you. What you want. You can hit done, and you can manipulate some things over here. If you know the exact percentages of your gemstone, you can just type them in. So we'll just go ahead and take that for the sake of this video. I'm going to drag it down just a little, and we're just going to go ahead and hit enter. Okay, so now we have a stone floating out there in the middle of our ring, right? We have to connect it somehow to the ring itself. So, and right now if I click on this and look over here, it's a closed poly source. So that's a printable item right there. So we want to connect this to our ring. So what we do is we can do it with a head or some kind of a setting. Something that's going to hold the gemstone, right? Bezels or heads, either one, or you can design your own, which is another thing. We'll just do a simple bezel. If you do a head, it'll place prongs out there, right? And then you can manipulate the prongs, so that's a whole nother video. But bezel's very easy. So bezel just puts and select our stone and hit enter. Oh, that's under bezel, sorry. Bezel, select our stone, hit enter, and it places the most simple setting out there that you can do. It's not the easiest. I mean, it's really easy for a craftsman that's been doing jewelry for a while, but it can be challenging for people who are just getting started. And then, of course, it's barely touching. It looks kind of tacky out there. We want to, of course, drag it down. Drag it down and maybe make it a little wider, something like that. Maybe not so wide, but you can manipulate this in the hole down there. There's all kind of manipulations you can do here. I'm going to open it up pretty wide here, and you can also manipulate position, thickness of the top, how much it's offset. Of course, we don't want it offset. We want it right on our stone, so we'll put it back to where our stone's set in there. You can manipulate top thickness, how thick you want it. Usually you want it at least a ½ millimeter thick, a 0.4 I get, but depending on the stone. You can change the dome. Say you don't want you want 100% dome, or you don't want any dome. You can manipulate that, and that kind of a thing. You can manipulate how high up or deep it goes, or how low the bezel is, the edges are. There's a lot of manipulation there. You can actually change the profile to something crazy. Yeah, I mean, again, right here, just between these two items, you can do hundreds of different rings. Look at, I mean, that's pretty cool, pretty crazy. But there's all kind of profiles. These you can make yourself and save them, or I think you have like these in your library. So let's go. Let's not definitely. Well, anyway, I'll just go back to our original here and hit it. And hit OK. So we have this, this is what we want. So we're going to hit enter. Now, dynamic commands in MatrixGold is everything's connected, right? Well, I didn't do the gem to this one, but you'll see. Uh, I can go to my gemstone, right? And if I hit edit, say I wanted to change that height, I didn't like that height, I want to lower it down a little bit, it'll take the head with it. So that's a very cool feature that you can play around with. And you should check the depth of your stone, make sure it's not touching the inside of your ring. But that's kind of really simple, very easy, right? So you can hit enter, say we like that. And then again, you want to make a closed poly surface, but you got all this sticking out here. Well, in the transform menu, there's a command called cut to ring rail, and actually I don't use it very often, so I don't know where it's at, but it's in here. So I'll just go into my search, type cut to ring, there we go, cut to ring rail. So it'll tell me to select my surface, that's the bezel, and hit enter, and it just cuts it right away. And so everything's lined up exactly with my bezel, my ring rail, which is the offset ring rail. So there I go. There I have a little diamond set, cushion cut, bezel set, bypass ring. And it's good to go. And you can cast it in red gold, silver, yellow gold, green gold, any kind of metal you want to cast it in. But those are two very, very basic ways of creating very, very simple designs. And you can do all kinds of stuff. And then you could add gemstones in there if you wanted. And there's all different kinds of ways to add gemstones. So again, I'm not sure exactly what you're looking for, whether you want more information about each kind of command and how to use it, or whether you're looking for how to create something very simply. But it takes anybody that's used MatrixGold will testify that it's not something you're going to learn overnight. It's going to be something that is you're going to have to dedicate yourself to and practice and do a lot of different items. Start out very simple like these, and then move on to 2 rails, 3 rails, 4 rails, and then going into clay use, sub D items, and then grasshopper. There's a lot there. So hopefully this kind of gives you the very, very basic idea of how to design a simple item. And then we'll kind of just talk about things as we move forward. So thanks for watching. I hope it helped. Leave me a comment. Thanks very much.